NordPol is a Swedish development hub that provides support for the development of the cloud industry across the Nordics. Joining me today is Christoffer Svanberg, Chief Communications Officer at the NordPol, to talk about the renewable energy sector. Christoffer, thanks a lot for talking to me. NordPol recently was involved with an announcement with Microsoft and Vattenfall, where they're going to build a huge farm in Sweden to power the data centers with green energy. Yeah. What was your involvement in that?
Well, NordPol acted as an advisor to Microsoft in this decision to build a hyperscale data center in Sweden. Also working alongside government authorities and obviously Vattenfall, etc. So NordPol's role in those type of processes is really to ensure a smooth process in terms of making the correct decision.
And how long did this process with Microsoft take?
Well, it's a good question. It was a fairly long process, as it usually is.
2 or 3 years.
Well, it was in the more than a year at least. Okay. But it's been a really rewarding work when you finally get that decision to come to Sweden.
Okay. And when we're looking to sustainability, how quick do you think the industry is going to be actually sustainable?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I think that this industry really has a challenge going forward, where people's attitudes are changing rapidly. Lately, we've seen a Swedish 16-year-old, Greta Thunberg, who has basically started a global movement for young people skipping school to go and strike for the climate. Now, 16-year-old Greta, she's not going to have all the answers what we need to do, but the fact that she in 6 months' time have started a global movement, I think is a sign of the times, really. And this industry, with its enormous appetite for electricity, I mean, currently, the data center industry is at about 2% of global electricity use. In 10 years' time, we think that's going to be at least 10%. So, this will be an industry which is going to be in the focus for sustainable action. So the time to change really is now. If you don't, I think you'll be running the risk of putting your business on the wrong side of the future.
But then with so many things that are happening around the world right now, especially with the US dropping off the Paris Agreement, Brazil following the same steps, it's not a good outcast for the sector globally.
I agree with that, but I would also challenge it a little bit. There are political movements in America going, I think, in the wrong direction. At the same time, I think that what we see is that there's a lot of stuff going on in various states and parts of America. Many American businesses are doing a tremendous work in terms of sustainability. And for our industry, I think it's very true that if you look at the hyperscalers, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, they really have chosen the path of sustainability 10 years ago, but they're not so vocal about it. They tend to do a lot of really, really good stuff, but don't tell anyone about it. I would argue and hope that could change. I would want them to tell exactly how good they are and act as an inspiration for others.
Okay, and then you recently also launched a program to really drive through these sustainability goals across the world, not even just the Nordics. Do you want to talk about that? Yeah,
we've launched something, what we want to become a global label for sustainable data handling. We call it fossil-free data. Okay. And this is essentially a way of putting buyers and sellers together. Put it this way, a lot of companies today, both companies, corporations, consumers, they want to make sustainable choices. They want to buy sustainable products and services, and they want to tell the world about it. They want to tell how good they are at that. If you look at our industry, some of the boys, like I said, the hyperscalers, they are doing good things, but they don't really have a way of saying we're doing this in a good way. So we're hoping that fossil-free data could be a sustainable label that connects the people who want to buy sustainable services and companies who do sustainable stuff, and act as a catalyst for this industry going forward in order to get this development to go faster. I believe it needs to go a lot faster than it does today.
And then as we get into the 2020s, the decade where we're going to have billions and billions and billions of IoT devices all around the world, what do you expect is going to happen in the next decade that will completely transform the data center space within the sustainability
Well, I think what we see today is that most companies really struggle here and now with capacity issues. Which means that I think a lot of times the issues of sustainability, they come very far down on the decision set. I think that's a mistake, because again, looking at people's attitudes and awareness around these issues, it's very quickly changing. At NordPol, we did a survey in February in the US, in Europe and in Asia. We talked to about 4,000 people, investigating those attitudes and where this is going. As it turns out, 58% are concerned about climate change. 73% are convinced that it's a man-made disaster about to happen. 86% said we would choose the supplier, the service provider that can supply us with sustainable solutions. Okay. So, this clearly is a time to really hear what the market is beginning to talk about.
Selling point as well for the business.
Yeah, I usually call this my Wayne Gretzky move. Why was Wayne Gretzky a great ice hockey player? Well, he didn't go where the puck was, but where the puck was coming. Okay. And I think this is one of these issues. Companies who decide to go down this path today will be highly rewarded tomorrow. If you do nothing or choose another way, I think you will be hurt.
Okay, and then we are at Data Cloud in Monaco.
Yeah.
Why is a conference like this important for Nord Pool and your message?
I think this is a fantastic conference. We have been coming here for many, many years, always enjoying it, sometimes with a bigger presence, sometimes just sort of visiting. This year we've actually done the biggest presence here in Monaco ever, with the launch of fossil-free data, i.e. we are here not under our own brand, but under the label brand, because we think this is important to talk about. Okay. So the idea that getting all these senior executives in one spot and be able to communicate to them has been for us many times a tremendous opportunity. This year more important than ever. Okay,
and you've got a very interesting slogan as well.
Yeah. Which I'm thinking about.
It's the roses are red.
Yeah. No, we call it the giant wall. We're very excited about that. Roses are red, violets are blue, data should be green, and that's it.
All right, Christoffer, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Don't forget you can follow Data Economy on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and also visit the website on www.data-economy.com.